The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good. Billy Ray feeling good, Lewis. So we're going to take a look at the euro. I'm a little behind today, folks. I was spent about 18 hours trying to travel yesterday, delays everywhere. One flight was delayed for 5 hours. The other flight was delayed for 4 hours. I ended up getting home around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was able to sleep a couple hours. But my goodness, this airports are not like traveling is not like it used to be. One of the people on the plane had to make a change, and the airline, I'm not going to say who it was, but it starts with an A and ends with an A, charged $700 surcharge for changing a flight so that the person could get back to where they had to be. I just couldn't believe it when I heard it. The poor woman was in tears, but she had to pay it. So they're not very nice, and it's just not flying like what you think it is. They did give us a pretzel, a little bag of pretzels, and some water, which was kind enough, but they were checking on your masks all the time. It's my first flight in 18 months, and I usually fly 60,000 miles a year, and so it's been a big deal. And not only that, but I've got to fly again tomorrow, so I have some things that I have to do. I've got some relatives that are under the weather that I've got to be able to visit. Okay, let's take a look here at this euro, folks. We've been up here now 3 times at this 122.60 level. We're trading around 122.20 right now. If we ever go popping above that, that is going to be a very, very bullish sign, because we've been there 3 times, and we know once it gets back that 4th time, that's usually breakout, the old Gann's rule of 4. Our guest today will be Tim Bost, always good. We've had him scheduled now for quite some time, and he'll be looking at it. I was going to have David Paul on Friday, but I'm going to be unable to be on the shows Thursday and Friday, and so what I'm going to do is to reschedule David for early in the week. So hopefully all the traveling and everything will be open over the weekend. That'll be Tuesday, because we're on a holiday on Monday with Memorial Day. So that's it. But if you have to travel, folks, I'll tell you, get ready, because it's easy going through the airports because there's nobody there. The problem is going through the security and all that stuff was a piece of cake. It's when you get on the plane, and they just for 5 hours they kept putting it back, and they give you no indication. There's nothing you can do about it. That's not very much fun. Okay, I have to put a heads up out there to our good friend out there in, I believe, Largo, Florida. No, it's not Largo. It's someplace in Florida. Bell Harbor, Mr. Jimmy. Jimmy, you saved my proverbial bacon. Let me tell you why, folks. As you know, I've been waiting for this 1901 level to come in on the gold for quite some time. I'm going to bring up the chart here, because what we have to do now, folks, August gold is the big player now. This is where all the open interest is. We've got June coming up here next Tuesday or Wednesday. When is it? June 1st is it's the end of this week. Wow, the end of this month. Friday. So they'll be moving over to August. And look, the number for the August fib point was 9088, okay? The one we were looking at was 901 for the June. Well, the June contract, went way above it, and I got stopped out. We took a small loss, but then when I came back, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and he had kind enough to send me this. I looked at it, I double-checked the open interest, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And I saw that, oh my gosh, I said, this has got to be it. So I sent out another video, said, folks, we've got to move into the August. We've got to try it again. We're able to get filled really good, and the market has broken, $15 from where we were trying to sell it. So now we're pretty much at a break-even point at looking at it. So those are some of the things that I'm watching here. Let me show you the open interest figures on this, because it's quite important, because of the fact that, and I missed the ball on this, folks. It was embarrassing to me when I saw this, and I said, God, thank God for TFNN and Jim and all these guys that listen to this stuff, because it really made it pretty good. Now, here's the figures from the CME as of last night. You'll notice the big drop in the June contract, 63,000 contracts. In other words, people were exiting, and you'll notice that 49,000 came in. This is a net loss of 15,000, folks. That is not bullish. This August contract, you see the open interest is, quite high now. And it should have at least made up that. In other words, it should be 63 and 63, but that's a 15,000 net move, and that's not new buying coming in, and that's not a good sign. So I don't know if this is going to be a top in the gold market. All I know is it's a top for $15, but we'll have to do one day at a time to see if it's going to do anything. That's really all we can do, nothing more. I mean, there's, your hands are pretty much tied when you're a technical person. You don't follow any of the things. Now, one of the stocks that is acting, and I've been saying this for quite some time, I know there's a news coming out in it pretty quickly. I don't know exactly when the Apple stuff comes out, but you'll notice here since the end of April back there when we had the last super full moon on the 28th, and boy, we have a beautiful full moon here in the desert, folks. Man, is it beautiful. It's like daylight. Anyway, you'll notice here the ABCD measures up to 29.16. We're trading at 127 and change. So watch that very, very closely. Look, since the 14th of May, we've hit the 382 retracement 1, 2, 3 times. So if we go popping above that, watch that level of 129.16. That's going to be very interesting. Stop and think. This is the most widely held stock in the stock market, and yet it's unable to make even a 382 retracement. These others have moved, quite dramatically, but that's what we're looking at here this morning as we go through looking at some of these. Now, as we look at the GLD, you're going to be able to see, I'll get this up so you'll be able to see it. Nothing really changed here in the GLD because, it's traded off market hours. And so we did get to the 78% level. We didn't quite make the 61% retracement. We came very close, but this should be a pretty significant top here in the gold. And anything making new highs now, but, you've been in a run now for 8 days. So even after an 8-day run, you should get a 3-day pullback at minimum, and then you'll find out whether that is going to give the market some support, as it looks through, some of these different patterns that we go through. I need to bring, someone's asked a question, always ask a question about Bitcoin. I don't know why these cryptos, hold it, Ruby saying, what is it, RTR up, going up, and the next day down? Well, wide volatility, Ruby. The Russell is up 2% one day, down 2% the next. This is the volatility that we keep preaching. Now, you'll notice here on the Bitcoin, we got back above the 40,000 level briefly today. But the important thing to watch on this is the ABCD to the upside that comes in at 45,000. Now, at 45,000, you're going to complete an ABCD pattern, and that's going to be the one that's going to tell you, where you stand. So let's remind ourselves these are just patterns. There's nothing about fundamentals. 877-927-6648.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave! Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, I'm going to talk just a little bit about astrology here because we've got Tim Boss coming on. One of the books that I keep on my desk here is The Evolution of Technical Analysis by Dr. Andrew Lo out of MIT. He's in charge of the financial engineering, you know, the quants that go to Wall Street, and they have a very heavy interest in that. They've actually bought my books and actually asked me a few questions about software and a few other things over the years. But these guys are, you know, they're super smart people, and I think someday it's on my bucket list that there will be a segment on CNBC or Bloomberg coming from someplace like MIT or Indiana State University from Norman Winsky, something like that, where they will show some indications that, yes, these are probabilities. Now, we do have this super full moon, and I'm going to bring this up to show you something here. This is what Norm published back when we had the super full moon. This was a long time ago. And the eclipse, this was back on the 25th of September of last year. And all I'm going to do now is to show you what we're doing now. One of the things in Dr. Lowe's book, he says that the first technicians were actually the astrologers, and they have these clay tablets from the Sumerians and Babylonians, you know, going back 5,000 and 7,000 years, showing how they're predicting the price of wheat on lunar cycles. It's pretty intense, and you have to go through the interpretation that they're giving you there, but it's really quite amazing. So here's what we're looking at today as we came in. Here is what's happening so far in the wheat. Now, wheat opened sharply lower. Yes, the book is, astrology loses you very quickly, boys and girls. Honest to God, it really does. And that's one of the reasons why I don't talk about it very much is it's difficult. But the main reason is the guests that I have on are so far superior to me that I don't even want to attempt to go where those guys go. I mean, you know, they really understand it more than I do. I keep it really simple. Now, this is the 30-minute chart of July wheat, and you can see we have a really nice 3-drive to a bottom pattern, just about as symmetrical as you can get from low to high, low to high. They all line up perfectly right at 639, and the low was 639.5. And, of course, I had an order setting at 639, and I ended up paying up for it. You know, still did all right, but I missed that. Now, this is the day of the super moon. You know, we're at perigee and we have the eclipse and all that. So the last time we had this was back on the 27th, 28th of April, if you'll remember that. Now let's just play the devil's advocate, and we're going to go back here, and we're going to take a look at the 28th of April, and you're going to see, look, there we are on the 27th. We're making a big high up there at 770. And so there are some things that you can use. Now, you could see that pattern without using any astrology at all. The fact that it's there, may or may not mean something. I believe there's something there, but to try to pinpoint the exact time, I think is just it's I don't know how to say it, a fool's game, I think, to do that. Folks, what I do with these patterns is nothing more than break down these patterns of ABCD into fractal segments. That's exactly what we did in the Floor Trader's Handbook. It shows how each of those relates to each other. It shows that the probability of winning is better than 3-1 in your favor. And not only that, but the success rate is around 65%. This is with thousands of trades. So there are probabilities there. The things are in your favor. What you have to do is understand, do you want to use that pattern or use something else? You don't have to use oscillators. You can if you like, I suppose. They're lagging, but they work too. Some people can use them incredibly well. Look how incredibly successful Steve Rhodes is, and also David White, and also Basil Chapman. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Oh, yeah, maybe the two O'Brien boys. And they can use those, but you have to learn, find out what works for you. Now, I'm not an oscillator person. I'm just a bar chart person. I try to keep it as simple as I can so that I want to risk, X number of dollars. I don't care whether the oscillator is turning or not. If I have to risk, $250, if I have to wait, I have to wait. I'm just going to put it on and, let the chips fall as I may. I know I'm going to be right at least 2 out of 3 times over a long period of time. So that's what I try to do when I'm looking at some of these things as we walk through. I had several questions about the CME. I need to go over that again because I think I lost a few people. This is the from my CQG show platform. These are the futures at the CME. There's the euro, the June, and we'll be switching over to the September, which will be you, the Japanese yen, the Canadian dollar, the British pound, and also the Australian dollar. Now, this is an actual contract between you and somebody else. If you're trading at a Forex bank through a bank like Saxo, Citibank, all the others that are out there, then what you're doing is that bank is taking the other side of the trade. And the reason why is because if you give him a sell order, somebody in Basel, Switzerland is probably giving him a buy order at the same time, and he just matches them. What they do is they have 2 full times on each shift. They're usually 10 to 12 hour shifts, where they watch the risk control, their risk managers, and they watch exactly where their positions are. They do not want to get lopsided in any of these positions. They'll take a 3% position on either side. They'll take that risk. But if someone comes in and, makes their deck look like it's 15% long the euro or something like that, they don't want to have anything to do with that. So what they'll do is they'll go to another bank and lay it off. Just like a bookmaker. If a bookmaker gets too much money, bet on a prize fight, what he's going to do is to lay it off. Okay, they're talking here about Andrew Lo at MIT. This guy he's a really special person, folks. He's a Chinese national, and he has a $3 billion hedge fund, and all of the profits go to cancer research. And that's it. Yes, I'm going to look at Apple here. I want to bring this up. I think I did Apple already. I'm almost sure I did. Yes, I did. Let's bring it up again. But this is not acting like a very good stock, folks. It really isn't, given the fact that, it's one of the better marketing companies around. And but look at this. We've been here for 2 solid weeks of the market going straight up. And this thing can't move. Something's not right in Apple City. That's the way it reads to me. I'm not a fundamentalist, but maybe this will change overnight, and they'll come up with the iPhone 6 for $55 or something like that. I don't know, but it's just acting very, very suspicious from the bullish side. I'm just trying to give you my 2 cents from one side to the other. So I don't know anything about trials or all that other stuff. Yes, Terry, there is a blue moon blood moon in New Zealand, but the moon here in the desert this morning when the driver pulled up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I mean, it was just like daylight. I mean, it was just incredible how beautiful it was. So that's pretty much what we're looking at here with the moon. We're going to have Tim Bost here at our guest. I'm sorry I'm not going to be here on Thursday and Friday. I've tried to contact the folks at TFNN to let them know, but it's an emergency that's come up. In fact, I didn't even think I was going to be here today, but I was able to do that. So, but I'll be ready on Tuesday when we come up. We're going to have some really great volatility, folks. It's just starting, and you got to get ready for it because it'll be really exciting once it keeps moving here. So we'll just take a break here, I believe, coming up, and then we'll have Tim Bost on. If you have any questions, it's 877-927-6648.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den trading room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
It's May 26th, and we have a lunar eclipse and a full moon. It must be Tim Bost in the house. Tim, how are you?
We got it. Excellent. How are you today, sir?
Still above ground, living the dream, my friend. Living the dream.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
What can I was going to say, what do you have for us today? That's what they're asking me right off the bat.
My apologies.
Just like the restaurant business, you're only as good as your last meal. So fire away, Tim.
So we hope everybody enjoyed the last one, but we'll see what's on the menu today, right? So we did, in fact, have a lunar eclipse about 5-6 hours ago, early this morning. It's interesting because it was not visible in the eastern half of the U.S., but from about the Mississippi west, it was visible, and there was a total lunar eclipse, which is a fairly rare event. Basically, we get solar eclipses at least twice a year, and typically each solar eclipse is accompanied by one or more lunar eclipses. So eclipses themselves are not all that rare. But we do have some rarity in terms of where they're visible and whether or not it's a total eclipse. And this took place in the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. Now, a lunar eclipse is really a full moon in kind of an amplified form. So every lunar eclipse is also a full moon, but every full moon is not a lunar eclipse. So it's kind of a special case scenario here. And so when we talk about the lunar eclipse occurring in Sagittarius, that means the moon was in the sign of Sagittarius, and at the full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So the sun is in the sign of Gemini. So I hope that confuses everybody sufficiently, but that's what we're looking at. And of course, we're interested in doing our analysis and trying to understand what happens with the markets when we have lunar eclipses. This is a chart that shows the average effect or net effect whenever we have a lunar eclipse that occurs in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, this is all of the lunar eclipses, which include partial ones as well as total ones, and there's some variations there. But on the average, what we tend to see immediately following the lunar eclipse is a decline in the markets. It's about 2/3 of 1%, something like that. It's not a huge crash necessarily, but there tends to be a little consolidation price-wise and then a decline following that. And so we note here that downward dotted arrow begins at the 0 point. You'll see at the bottom, that's the actual date of the eclipse. That's today. And so we're looking here, going out the next 8-9 trading calendar days, pardon me. This shows calendar days and not trading days. So for roughly the next week, thereabouts, we can expect a little bit of a price pullback in the S&P based on this historic average. So again, with the lunar eclipses, when they occur in Sagittarius, this is the kind of pattern that we get. Lunar eclipses in other signs of the zodiac have different effects, but so we try to specialize as much as possible in doing our back testing to try to narrow it down to see what we're actually looking at. As I mentioned a moment ago, however, the total lunar eclipses are a much more rare phenomenon, and that's what we've experienced here today. So this total lunar eclipse was visible in the western half of the American continents, North America, South America, as well as in Hawaii, Alaska, Australia, especially the entire continent of Australia. The eclipse was visible there, and also some parts of the Far East as well, the western edge of the Pacific Ocean. So it was really centered over the Pacific Ocean, and of course that time of day would have been in the middle of the night over the Pacific, and in Australia, here in the U.S., we were getting the eclipse occurring around sunrise. So on the eastern coast here, we had the sun come up and the moon set right before it eclipsed. And then in the California, in that area, the eclipse occurred right as the sun was rising. So a little different kind of viewpoint there as well. Kind of have to calculate things on a global basis. But in going back here, what we found was the most recent example of a total lunar eclipse that occurred in the sign of Sagittarius. That was back on the 23rd of May in 1975. So it's been a few years, almost half a century here since we've had this particular phenomenon occur. And in going back that far, of course, we're looking here at the Dow rather than the S&P to get our price chart up in front of us. But we're looking at the impact on the Dow. That red price bar was the date of the eclipse on the 23rd of May in 1975. And at that point, just for reference, the Dow closed that day at 831.90. So a far cry from the trading range that we're seeing today. But as you can see, this doesn't match exactly the pattern that we saw when we looked at the average response to lunar eclipses. Instead, what we're looking at here was a little bit of a downturn for a couple of trading days, pop back to the upside, and then some further downward retracement there that was a net consolidation, we would call that, a congested market essentially. Now, after that period, the Dow went up in value somewhat, but with lunar eclipses, we look for this effect to occur basically within about a 2-week period. They can set things up that can be quite dramatic in a number of ways, and sometimes we'll see long-lasting effects economically or geopolitically that get triggered by a lunar eclipse. And certainly there have been key events historically that have occurred on those kinds of dates. But in terms of the market analysis, we're looking for a much shorter range effect. The lunar eclipses tend to be weaker than the solar eclipses. Solar eclipses have a much, much more long-lasting effect.
Tim, we have a question. Someone asked, what is a blood moon?
Good question. And this is it's interesting because this was billed, if I can remember it correctly, the flower blood super moon, full moon lunar eclipse or something to that effect. And the folks in the mainstream media have a lot of fun with that. We've got a combination of several effects. And essentially when we talk about a blood moon, it is typically a time of a lunar eclipse, especially a total lunar eclipse. And what happens is that there's this effect that the moon appears reddish because the shadow of the Earth is being cast upon the surface of the moon. The Earth is kind of getting in the way of the solar rays there, and the coloration then, as an effect of the Earth's shadow and the Earth's atmosphere, creates the illusion of the moon looking reddish in appearance. And so from our perspective here on the Earth, we have that reddish coloration that's not typical of the moon under other circumstances. And that's been called the blood moon, just to create a little more drama around it and get people's attention. It seems to work pretty well to do that. But the blood moon is based on that optical phenomenon of the shadowing and the interference of the atmosphere. A supermoon, and this is one of those as well, is a full moon that occurs, whether or not it's an eclipse, a full moon that occurs when there's a tighter proximity of the moon to the Earth. It's we call it the perigee phase of the lunar cycle. The moon actually has an elliptical orbit around the Earth, and so when it is a little closer to the Earth, it appears a little bigger in the sky. And our friend Richard Knoll has termed that the supermoon.
Very good. Can you stay with us, Tim? We got a couple
Absolutely.
other questions. We'll be right back, folks. Tim Boss, Financial Cycles Weekly.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Okay, folks, we're back. We're talking with Tim Boss, Financial Cycles Weekly. And Tim, while we were gone, I got an email from someone saying, what the heck are you doing talking about astrology? You're supposed to be an expert. I have never said that I was an expert. I know little tiny bits and pieces, lunar eclipses and that kind of stuff, full moons, 14-day cycles, apogee, perigee, that kind of thing that I look at. And if it matches with the patterns that I like, I think it gives me an edge. And that's all I can say. I could never be in your bailiwick. Tim, I've known you a long time, and I've seen what you do, and we do different things. So I hope people understand
we do
that.
Indeed. And vive la difference, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure.
And I do want to tip my hat to you, Larry, because of the research work that you did many decades ago, and began to look at some of these correlations. It kind of laid the groundwork for taking a solid backtesting approach and coordinating astrological studies with the technical analysis, and you certainly have made a major contribution in that area. And your books are things that I refer to cutting my teeth, and then they've become collector's items now. So we'll talk about collecting one of these days, right?
That's called being ancient.
That's
Tim,
right.
Do you think someday we'll have a segment on CNBC and Bloomberg about the Astro-Harmonics coming from MIT or Harvard or?
I think when you and I take over the network, we will manage that.
Slim chance.
I hear they're in flux there, so it's time for a new regime. At any rate, we were talking about this lunar eclipse effect, and essentially what we're looking for is some market congestion and a potential pullback here on a short-term basis. And again, we try to coordinate that with our technical studies. This example from 1975, we always say past performance doesn't indicate future results, but this is the most recent example I could find that's close enough to what we have going on right now. So that may be instructive at that point. However, we do have some special circumstances with this particular lunar eclipse. We're looking at it here on the 90-degree dial, and this was simply our projection from the time that the eclipse occurred. This was at about 7:14, about quarter after 7 Eastern time, New York time this morning, a couple hours before the opening bell. And our little red pointer on the right is the position of the eclipse itself. And what we look at is to see what else is being picked up along the way. And there are a couple of planetary activations that are a little bit ominous, perhaps, but can also inform us in terms of the potential for market volatility. It activates the midpoint of Mars and the trans-Neptunian factor Zeus, and that particular combination of planets is indicative of fires dangerousness of burning buildings, conflagrations, things of that sort, police and police actions, military activity, and firearms in general all tend to come under focus at this time. So whether it is debates about gun control or shooting incidences or invasions country to country, whatever it may be, or simply a wildfire situation, all of this is described by what's being activated right now by this lunar eclipse. And again, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be watching for those kinds of things in the news, as well as the Hades-Volcanus midpoint. These are two trans-Neptunian factors, a little bit more ominous there because it talks specifically about situations that are extremely dangerous and the committing of capital crimes, expressions of brutality, kind of take no quarter kind of mentality there, a general level of depravity and wickedness and occurrences of murder and assassination and things of that sort. So we don't try to read too much into that, but what it says is that we get an acceleration of the emotional state here. And I think from our trading perspective, that's really one of the most important things to understand. As we look at the markets on a day-to-day basis, we have the bulls and the bears, and they have two distinguished emotional states, fear and greed. And it's the balance and interplay of those emotions that moves the markets on a day-to-day basis, and that's what gives us the trading opportunities. At the time of a full moon, any full moon, we have an acceleration or an amplification of the emotional energy for the populace as a whole. We see a rise in the crime rates and admissions to emergency rooms and things of that sort during the time of the full moon. It's fairly well documented, but it's also a time of emotional intensity. So when we look at that full moon period with the markets, then we're inclined to see more emotional based trading. Then we add another level of amplification to that, which is a lunar eclipse. And it gets even stronger emotionally. We make that a total lunar eclipse, as is the case right now, and we can kind of up the volume a little bit with that. And then we see these midpoint structures saying, hey, things can get pretty tense here. And these are emotional confrontation kinds of dynamics that we're looking at. So with all of that bundled in one notion there, we can see a greater tendency toward market volatility and a warning specifically for traders in this situation to be clear about stepping aside from the emotions. This is one of the trader's biggest jobs every single day, to not get carried away emotionally with what we're seeing in the markets and to trade on a rational basis, on the basis of the chart patterns that we see. And so that's why we this kind of a warning sign is important to us from that respect alone. We're not so much trying to predict the markets as we are trying to caution the traders in this context.
Speaking of, things happening on full moons, my Sarah's grandsons, they're 8 and 10 in Philadelphia, and they called me early this morning to tell me that they had heard gunfire right outside the house, and they have their little telephones, and so they started to record it. And there were 18 gunshots. They missed the first 3, and then they counted the other 15. They recorded them, but it was like a war of some kind. They never reported it in the papers or anything like that, but that was probably related to something related to the full moon, I would think, with that much gunfire at one time, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, exactly. That's that Mars-Zeus dynamic with the firearms and shooting things off and getting carried away. Of course, in Philadelphia, lots of things don't make the news, but
what do you see coming in the future for the fall? We've got we got an equinox coming up here pretty soon, and
right. We have the summer solstice coming up on the 21st of June. Before that, the next big event, it comes in exactly 2 weeks. We've got
guess who's going to be on our show that day?
Oh, we'll make that happen.
Okay,
so we got a solar eclipse coming on the 10th of June, and so that'll be a good day to kind of touch base there and see what's happening with that one as well.
Okay, we have a question about the gold market. And also we have a question about the cryptocurrencies. Let's cover the cryptos first because everybody's asking about it. So what do you think about Bitcoin? Is it going to make new highs?
Well, not today in terms of new highs. Although one never knows, right?
One never knows.
It could be a little challenging there along the way. But right now, I just was checking here. We got Bitcoin trading at about 38,800 and change. And so what we've seen, of course, is a big pullback from the last time we talked, which was I guess about 3 weeks ago, we were hitting the record highs at that point and looking at support and resistance. We've been using the Chronos price lines as defining support and resistance zones with our trading with Bitcoin, and they've done a very good job along the way.
Yes, they have. We've had several people remark about how well they've done. Can you stay with us for one more comment about
will
the
indeed.
market?
We'll drill into this a little more deeply then. Sure.
You bet. Financial Cycles Weekly. We'll be right back with Tim Boss.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave! Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi, folks. This is Steve Rhodes. Stay tuned for another great hour of the Trader's Edge, heard here at TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, talking with Tim Bost about the gold market. What do you think, Tim? Are we heading for 2,000 again?
With gold, I'm not so sure, although we did switch from a sell signal to a buy signal on the close on Friday there with gold. And we're certainly a bit more bullish than we had been in the past. I see things are up a little bit here today as well. What we do with gold, by the way, is we, of course, look at the commodities market, but we also like to track GLD, which is the S&P Spider Gold Shares. GLD trades on the NASDAQ and gives us an easy way to track it on a day-to-day basis without getting too lost in the weeds and And so what we were doing was entering a long position with GLD at 176.04. It's currently at 178.17. So it's reinforcing that more bullish stance. And so we're looking for a long-term upside to gold. We've got a stop in there at on the GLD at 170.25. So we're definitely looking for higher prices ahead. Don't know that we'll get bullion up to 2,000 or not. We're not trying to make price projections there, but simply trying to keep the toe in the right side of the water, so to speak, and what we're doing with that.
Okay. One final question, and that is, do you have any comments about Apple, why it's so much weaker than the rest of the market when it usually is the leader? You know, for the last 6 weeks, it's just drifted down since the last super full moon we had back on the 28th of April.
Right.
It's just been...
I think we have to look at fundamentals there, Larry, because of the concerns about the lawsuit and Tim Cook having to testify and all kinds of complications going on in the background has created a level of uncertainty that's having, I think, a little bit of a bearish drag on the prices there. I'm not a fundamental analyst in terms of my expertise, but just looking at the overall picture, that's the most salient thing that I'm seeing with Apple.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and we will see you on June 10th.
Very good. Thank you much.
Be safe, my friend, and thank you for joining us. Tim Boss, Financial Cycles Weekly, folks. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless. And I'll see you on Tuesday.